Once upon a time, there lived a king named Arslan. He lived in a large estate with stone walls and towers with loopholes. The first ring, the second ring with towers, the third ring, moats between the towers. Everything as it should be. King Arslan was probably a cruel and ruthless man. His striking appearance, as he is vividly depicted in historical accounts, with a rather large prominent hooked nose, a dark swarthy complexion, and sharp piercing large eyes, all adorned in a magnificent golden royal kaftan, meticulously made of shimmering gold fabric, truly conveyed his imposing presence. With pointed, upturned toes, boots made of the softest leather, embroidered with gold. Tsar Arslan lived in the Kremlin, and his beloved wife, his cherished spouse, Queen Fatima Sultan Seitovna, a woman of great dignity and maternal grace, lived in the devoted care of her dear children within the historical Kasimov kingdom, specifically residing in the royal Kasimov courtyard, a place of familial warmth and enduring heritage. The Kasimov kingdom was famous for its large white palace, in which Fatima Sultan Seitovna lived. Fatima Sultan Seitovna. She was the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad. And today, the whole world knows her as Fatima the Prophetess. In Spain, there are some prophecies, in the Vatican as well. Some prophecies are interpreted as coming from Fatima. But for some reason, no one makes a small remark. That Fatima is not just Fatima, but she is the daughter of the Prophet. That is why her prophecies were so important. She took up the Prophet's mantle and carried it forward and told the world about what could happen to it. At that time, Tsar Arslan was sitting in the Kremlin, Moscovia, Moscow. Moscow is a mosque, the main mosque. Mami Jami, that's what Moscow was back then. But the center was where Tsar Arslan sat. Those who later became his descendants, they decided to change his name. It was more advantageous to bear the name of another Tsar, because history had become so confusing, so falsified, that Tsar Arslan began to be called Ivan the Terrible. Ivan the Terrible, with the appearance of Tsar Arslan, with a large hooked nose, a face both manly and cruel, and the famous golden robe. And the golden robe was passed down to Tsar Arslan from his grandfather Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was famous for his golden robe. The golden robe, which was first and foremost a magical robe. This magical robe, perhaps it's impossible to truly describe what the magical robe actually possessed. But it offered complete protection to Genghis Khan. It was a gift from his mother. Genghis Khan's mother gave it to him. From Mount Burkan, Genghis Khan's mother. Mount Burkan. And his mother gave him this robe, which she had woven herself, created with her own hands, using magic and golden threads. The robe was, well, quite heavy, but it was possible to wear it. Tsar Arslan loved this robe of his, so in portraits from that time, he was depicted precisely in this robe. Sometime later, a century, well, No, perhaps not a whole century yet. Vatican wanted to repeat the magic of Tsar Arslan's golden robe, and for the dying Paul, Karol Wojtyla, who was Pope John Paul II, they ceremoniously put this sacred robe on him then, right before his impending death. It was clear that the robe seemed to be soaked in blood. There were strange stains on it. When he appeared before the people afterward, the individual who successfully succeeded Karol Wojtyla, the esteemed Pole, diligently tried to put on this ceremonial robe. Why the Pole? Yes, because Poland was once a great empire. That's why the Poles, the Polish Empire, also carry a significant ancestral branch of global importance. So Tsar Arslan, who possessed the powerful and legendary artifact of Genghis Khan, the magnificent golden robe, he in the end at some point either died or was killed. Here we don't know everything for sure, and was buried in a mausoleum on the territory of the Kremlin. This mausoleum was later turned into a cathedral. Well, a cathedral it is then. But it is the mausoleum of Tsar Arslan and his wife. But Tsar Arslan had several wives. The first was Fatima Sultan Seitovna. But there were other wives as well. So in the cathedral on Red Square, Tsars are buried. Go in there, take a look, and you'll see some Russian names. Although, on the helmet of Alexander Nevsky, supposedly. On the helmet. There's Arabic script, very beautiful. Such script stimulates the mind. Intricate, beautiful, very significant. Tsar Arslan is buried there, on the territory of the Kremlin. This was told to me by the keeper of the Kremlin walls. In the 90s, I spent a lot of time there, sorting things out, trying to understand. But it's impossible to walk between those marble tombstones. I mean, there are marble coffins standing there. It's impossible to walk between them. But there should be a proper passageway. And there are so many of them standing there, you can easily get lost. In general, if you know the history, you can understand. And since then, these names, the names of Tsar Arslan and his wife Fatima Sultan Seitovna, became a scourge of the times. People started getting rid of them. And all their children who came after, they were afraid to use that name. Otherwise, you'd face execution, or people would look at you with suspicion. So it was better to take an ordinary, unremarkable name, like any regular person, and live with that name. And so many of the Sit Burkanis became either Sitovs, or Burkanovs, or Zakharovs.